No hole over there. We only go in if we have God's help. Thank you very much, comrade, and hello to everyone. It is a real pleasure to be here this morning with you, to connect with you, and also to discuss some topics, I would say, of a scientific nature that are of great interest to us, present here on the occasion of the 80th anniversary of the victory over Nazism. I think we took part in the parade yesterday. Even before that, the day before, we also participated in some cultural events. But from all of this, I would say that we have learned many lessons, which should lead us to reflect even more, to remotivate ourselves, to restart the African engine. Nazism, which we think or thought had disappeared, is resurfacing. The same goes for imperialism and colonialism, which are still present in another form and continue to oppress populations around the world. And today, many peoples are fighting for their survival, for their sovereignty, to live in peace. And the Sahel is one of those regions where imperialism is manifesting itself in a very violent way. And with everything we are experiencing, I hope that we can honor the memory of all those fighters who gave their all and who have gone before us in this struggle against imperialism, against neocolonialism. So I ask you to observe a minute of silence. Thank you. This morning we are in a rather special setting, which is a scientific university where many students from the AES are present to gain knowledge. And we made a point of being here to encourage you and also to share a few messages with you in the spirit of the pursuit of knowledge. We will work to ensure that the number of students here increases. But also I spoke with them, and we hope that these universities, such as this chemistry university and the University of Radio Technology, can be replicated in our country to train more students, and that we can cooperate so that they send us instructors on site to have major laboratories and great universities. Our cooperation with Russia will be based more on education and the transfer of knowledge. It will not be a cooperation where we are there asking for help, asking for support on the financial side, on the economic side, and so on. That is not why we are here. We are here to cooperate more in the field of knowledge. And knowledge is much more scientific. And you, here in this scientific university, I admire you greatly, because normally you should be learning and practicing science of chemistry and radio engineering. This is what we need today in order to develop. I will give you a few examples during my speech to illustrate the essence of my thoughts. Here, we are at Mendeleev University. Everyone who studied science, medicine school has learned about Mendeleev. Let me share a little anecdote with you. During my school years, there were people who didn't like certain subjects and just couldn't manage to learn some things. When they couldn't do it, we used to nickname them after the scientist who invented that particular thing. For example, we had people we called Pavlov, and we also had people we called Mendeleev. The one we called Mendeleev, for instance, once asked himself why Mendeleev created that table. It's to give us projects to work on. You see, he has to study a table, but he doesn't know why he has to study it. Which means that if he doesn't put it into practice, he doesn't understand the usefulness of Mendeleev's periodic table. That's why I say in this regard, cooperation is very important so that we can actually practice. It's the same thing with chemical equations that we've been spending time balancing since, I would say, high school. We're very good. When on paper, we're told to balance a chemical equation, we do it. When in thermodynamics, we're told to calculate the standard enthalpy of formation of a substance, we do it. But in practice, what do we actually do? Has anyone ever, for example, taken the time to illustrate a nucleus, say that of hydrogen, and asked me what happens if we remove an electron? Or what happens if we add an electron? I never had that kind of practical illustration. Hydrochloric acid, since high school, we've been made to do chemical reactions with it on paper, but I've never actually handled hydrochloric acid or performed a real experiment with it. This just goes to show you how important practical work is, and how much we lack laboratories to let us do hands-on experiments in our countries. And you shouldn't become the kind of theorist that I am. That's why we want to replicate this kind of university in our own countries, so that our young people studying scientific subjects can gain practical experience and not just become theorists. So many things around us are about the chemistry of materials. And the world itself even started with that. This table that Mendeleev created, I believe that all of science is based on it. But it's practical experience that allows you to move beyond being just a theorist and to create something tangible that can be useful to society. And this contributes greatly to the economy of our countries. Without you even realizing it, let me give you a few examples. You see, we import a lot of iron, for example, from all over the world, what we call galvanized iron. And you know very well, you chemists here, that it's nothing more than an electrolysis reaction. How is it that we can't do this ourselves, right here at home? We have to go buy galvanized iron from China or Europe, from all over the world. For example, we are at war. We pay for equipment, we pay for ammunition, weapons and everything else. When I take your ammunition, explosives and everything. Mali produces cotton, Burkina produces it, Niger produces it. But you know very well that it's the cellulose from cotton that's processed to make gunpowder and explosives. Why can't we manage to do it? Because we don't have practical chemistry. Even for the armor plating of vehicles. Yesterday I saw many vehicles parading on Red Square, from T-34s to modern vehicles. Armor plating has evolved. What is armor plating? It's a type of steel, and it's through chemistry that people understood that by adding a certain amount of carbon to iron and so on, you can create a special kind of steel. It's a matter of practice. We know how to do the chemical equations. We know very well that if you add a certain amount of carbon to iron, it gives you steel and so on. But in practice, can we actually create the armor plating? And yet we are at war. And it's chemistry that allows us to do this as well. In the same vein, you see authors, all the types of missiles that the Russian Federation can develop. And the latest one is Oreshnik, which is making the whole world tremble. Who wouldn't want to have it? But just the fuel for all these missiles, that's chemistry. Are we actually able, in practice, to create this fuel ourselves and try to build an engine to propel a rocket or a missile? There are so many examples that we couldn't finish listing them all, but it's just to tell you that you are lucky to be here, I would say at the very source of chemistry and mathematics. Because in Russia there have been scholars in these fields, whether it's physics, chemistry, or mathematics. But as the representative said, history has been distorted, and we've been led to believe that Russians are not strong in certain fields. It's others, the ones who write history, who claim to be strong in everything. But I think today, history shows us that all of that is false. There truly are scholars. The origin is here. The proof is Mendeleev, who created this table that summarizes matter, is Russian. So take advantage and learn. Learn in a practical way so that it benefits our countries. When a country is weak, it is doomed to disappear in this predatory world. We have to be strong. And today, the countries that have nuclear weapons are strong. They never lose a war. But the nuclear bomb, you've all studied atomic science, I'm sure. They tell you it's a neutron, hitting a nucleus which splits and releases energy. We know the equation, but how do you even enrich to change the isotope? How do you enrich? How do you actually do it in practice? So take advantage and learn, kid, because we need you to develop our countries. We have young talents in our country, inventors, scientists as well, who manage to create certain things, but they often lack the mathematical knowledge to improve, update, and be able to have a unique formula for what they do. And I think that the idea of wanting to replicate these universities in Burkina Faso and making sure that everything necessary is available for young people to learn is a very good thing. And we will continue to strengthen cooperation with Russia, especially in the area of scientific and educational exchanges. And that is the foundation of development. And now perhaps I will give you some advice that should guide you here. I believe that Africa is the cradle of humanity, but Africa has a lot of catching up to do. It's not impossible. It is very much possible. You live here, you see everything just as I do. And it is very much possible in our countries as well. You must believe, you must work hard. And I urge you to be exemplary citizens here, to respect the rules and laws of the country that is hosting you, to be models of integrity, to show solidarity, to be the kind of Africans people want to see abroad. The discipline and order you see here, you should be able to demonstrate even more. So, be supportive of one another, learn well, and above all, remember what is essential. We need you, and we hope that very soon you will come and create what we dream of for future generations and teach those generations what you have learned so that they can be better than you. Everyone hopes that the generations to come will be better than us. I am counting on you to learn and then come back to pass on your knowledge. In any case, stay focused. Imperialism continues its actions, but divide and rule must not work on us anymore. You should have understood everything. Stay focused. The struggle continues. And the struggle will always continue until the final victory. And one day we will celebrate that as well. Homeland or death, we shall prevail. Thank you very much. Homeland or death, we shall prevail.